2022 was a record year for the consulting industry, and working from home increased satisfaction of employees in consulting. Hi, my name is Jonas Nyari and welcome to this channel. Welcome to Mastering Consulting. On this channel, I want to help you to learn the necessary skills that you need for your first years in consulting. And in this week's headlines of the consulting industry, I want to talk about one headline, and the MCA published a new report about the UK consulting market, where they talked about all-time record highs in the consulting industry in 2022, and they also talked about how working from home increased the satisfaction of the employees in the consulting industry. So let's jump directly into it. So what we see is a report from the MCA. So this is the Management Consultant Association, a association in the UK for the consulting market, and they published their report for this year. And what we can see is that in 2022 we had a record year for the consulting industry. And if we compare the growth numbers that we had last year in the consulting industry to the previous years, and we talk about revenue here, then we see that there was a significant growth in the consulting industry. And I mean, there have been probably several drivers for that. So first of all, after the lockdowns in 2020, of course, as you probably know, the Fed printed a lot of money, and this had two effects. So first of all, there was a lot of money in the market, so companies again had a lot of budget for hiring consultancies. And second, we had the inflation, so that means that consulting prices and price level in general also raised significantly. And this was probably the main driver that we had in 2022, but we have to be aware of that, and we have to be really careful, because in 2023 I expect a declining revenue trend, or at least a slowdown of the growth, because we already see that there's a lot of uncertainty because of a threatening recession in the consulting market, or in the economy in general, and this will probably impact the consulting revenues negatively. So be aware that yes, we had record highs last year, but this year might be a bit more difficult for the consulting industry. And if we go to the report again, I think there was another very interesting headline here, and there was also a study that said that the satisfaction due to working from home models increased by 60% in the consulting industry. And this is really interesting, I think, because in the consulting industry we have a lot of discussion, if we prefer working from home models or working from the client side. And my personal opinion is that in the future we will probably see a mixture of these models. You see, I would say prior to 2020 it was very common that you were at the client side from Monday to Thursday. This was very normal, and this means, of course, that all the consultants are traveling a lot, and this has some positive aspects, like for example that you first of all have an exciting travel lifestyle, that you also are able to communicate with the client directly. This is good to build a relationship with the client. Also, you work in the client's environment, so you learn more about the business, and these are certainly the pros of working at the client side. The big cons, of course, are that traveling is very exhausting. So you usually have to get up very early on Monday. You fly back very late on Thursday. You spend the nights in hotels, so it's very exhausting for the consultants. Also, of course, it's much more expensive for the consulting firm. And of course, if we talk about sustainability, of course, if you fly an entire consulting team every other week, from one city to another, this has a very negative impact on the CO2 balance of consultancies. So those are the cons, and I think we have the big discussion now, how will it be in the future? And my opinion is that we will have a mixture of that. In the long run, I think that, and I talk about the next 5 to 20 years, I think that traveling in consulting will significantly decrease, because all of the consulting firms, they have very ambitious sustainability goals, and almost the only lever that they have is to reduce traveling activities. So I expect consultancies to travel less in the future, but in the meanwhile we probably will have some mixed models where you work some days at the client side and some days at home. And what this study shows is that typically consultancies work 2 days at the office, and then 1.5 days at the client side. and this seems to increase the satisfaction of employees. So this is very interesting. I'm very excited how this will develop in the future. Of course, I'm interested what your opinion on that is. So do you prefer working from home? Do you prefer working on the client side? Leave it in the comments below. That being said, I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you tomorrow. Goodbye, Johannes.